Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
And we are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Attack on Titan, Season 3, Episode 4. Last episode was nuts, dude. I feel like there was so much information, and I did not do a great job processing it initially, and still am probably not doing a good job processing it. But, just like trying to comprehend what happened last episode, we started off with, like, Historia's story, like some of her memories and flashbacks where she grew up on the farm, and had the moment with like her mother of everything family that she had in her mind and understanding of what that means came from books, right? Mm-hmm. And then she tries to like reach out and hug her mom, and then her mom like throws her to the ground, causing her to have a bloody nose. And Historia does nothing but smile because it was like the first sign of like affection and touch that she's ever had.
Just a sign of anything. I think it was her first of any reaction from her mother. Mm-hmm. And it's honestly the moment that stuck with us the most after watching. And it's the one that we've brought up to each other after watching.
So, like, obviously in any type of scenario that, let's say you have a life at working in a brothel, right? And you like have like, regardless of what people think, you have that life and standard that you are pursuing. If you accidentally have a kid, if somebody gets you pregnant and you have that kid, you might regret that and hate that it uprooted your life. Does that warrant the reaction that she gave Historia here? Because, like, the face that she made, in regards to throwing Historia looked like more than like resentment to me. It looked like fear and disgust. And, right? Like
it's like she has to have those feelings. The only thing that makes sense to me is that she has to have those feelings towards Historia's father for her to feel that way about Historia. That's the only like thing that makes sense to me. Unless she hates Historia because of the truth of who Historia is.
She kept going to the fancy, to places with the father, presumably fancily dressed, you know? So, like, I feel like she's at least on a certain term with the father. I either think that she isn't truthfully Historia's mother, and that's why she hates Historia, or it's, like, a female lineage of the Rice family, and Historia is, like, dangerous, and, like, she knows that and is terrified of her.
I couldn't figure out if the fancy dressing up and going into town, like, I obviously guessed that it was to visit Historia's father, but I couldn't figure out if it was more of she had to travel to have continuous relations with him, or if it was she goes and maybe he gives her money to keep raising Historia.
I get that as well, but my question is, like, how was she able to just leave the house after that? Like, she was able to, like, she left after that interaction, right? And began living somewhere else. And then afterwards, the next sign we have is when Wall Maria fell, and then both of them came back, right?
It's really weird and confusing.
So I don't really understand, like, why was she there in the first place? If she didn't want to be there and could leave at any time, why was she there?
I'm wondering if she was being paid to be there by Historia's father, and maybe she couldn't take it anymore, and Historia's father knew that, and so he gave her money to go live somewhere else in order to protect Historia. Because if this lady wanted to possibly kill Historia, I don't think Historia's father would want her around Historia any longer. True. So I feel like it seems like he kind of paid her maybe in multiple different ways in order to what he thought was best for Historia in that moment.
Yeah.
Which gives me faith that he might have some good intentions and want the best for Historia in whatever this future that's coming to pass is going to be.
I think he has intentions. I don't know what those...
He might think they're best for her. I don't know. We might disagree.
I think he has a plan for her.
Yeah. There seemed to be some, like, fatherly love there in those, like, 2 moments we got. Which is odd. I mean... Maybe it's just his eyes. Maybe his eyes just give me the vibes that he has some fatherly love and affection.
It could either be fatherly love or like a jewel, like this is like
this is precious, but not necessarily in a I'm the father of this and I want to protect it way. Yeah. But like this is precious to the world and not like she's a human being.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. I like that.
We had a little bit of information given within the conversation between Hanji and the person that they tortured until confession.
I don't remember the other guy's name.
But the information like that we got out from that is like when one's role is done, another steps in to start the act again, which makes me think that all the way back to, which we'll touch on in a second, to when Erwin's dad thinks the king or the person in charge erased everyone's memory and minds, like he had assigned a group of people like knights or whatever, or like step downs from him, like a round table, and like those throughout generations are always going to step in to fill these roles maybe of like protecting the truth or maintaining the world that they're living in. Yeah. I don't know.
Definitely maintaining the world that they have come to be used to and want. Their lavish lifestyles and their gardens.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, that was such a good line. So the next thing that I wanted to touch on was Hanji becoming commander. One thing that I really was upset with myself, it's not even like a deep thing, but really upset with myself for not talking about last discussion because it was so hot. It's still a little hot, but not as hot. Was that Hanji's commander. Hanji is, like, throughout every second that we've known her, has a mind full of curiosity and wonder and intrigue within the Titans. She is going to presumably have to put her squad and the betterment of her squad ahead of her own desires. Mm-hmm. And I think she'll do it.
I think she can do it. I think she has a lot of compassion for people, which sometimes there are characters that are really driven by scientific possibilities who maybe aren't really aware of interpersonal relationships. But I think Hanji even has shown us that with unsavory characters and or characters that we wouldn't necessarily be huge fans of, like Pastor Nick, she feels things and she cares for them and she doesn't want them to die. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think that she is a great choice because she has the curiosity and drive to move forward in the same veins that Erwin wants, which is discovering the truth. And she also has compassion for the people that are serving under her.
And she already was the section commander for a while, so she has some
She had the respect of... Yeah. Like, all of those people were watching her be kind of ridiculous with Sonny and Bean, and they were all just like, yep, that's Hanji. You know, they all had this respect for her.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what Niall's doing at the moment. I wonder what steps the rest are going to take.
He has to be up to something. Like, they couldn't have had him come in to talk to Erwin and then disappear and it not be for something. It has to be for something.
What is Demo Reeves' son? Like,
Why is he not doing anything?
Do you think he's going to have a role here? Like,
he has to get Erwin out, right?
Get Erwin out, or like just say what he knows, say his truth. We had, of course, like the biggest thing in the world, which was Erwin's dad's like understanding and prediction of like the story of history. 107 years ago, humanity that fled into these walls. The king had altered their memories to make them easy to rule. How the fuck does one get the power to alter memories? Would that fall in line with, like, the coordinate power Eren has? Because he can control Titans. Right. Titans can be people. Mm-hmm. Can you control people in every aspect of their lives, including their memories?
I only have a guess for what that power is and not how it came to be.
Okay.
I have no guess of how any of this ever came to be and how there are any powers involved.
What's the guess?
Well, I do think that I guess my running theory right now is that Aaron's dad stole this power to control, and that there is something defining and connecting between humans and Titans, other than what we know is that humans become Titans through some means, some injection, and that there's definitely something at their core that is connecting them. Therefore, if you can control Titans, you can probably control humans, especially if they've all already been injected with something. It's hard for me to believe that the Titans in Connie's village were turned into Titans by the Beast Titan. I feel like they already had to have something inside them that was awoken. And yeah, so I think that this power that Aaron has, this coordinate, he's the vessel who has it right now, which is what we've been taught is how powers are transferred. It's not necessarily like this person's the chosen one who has this power. It's by eating someone who has that power that you then gain it yourself.
As in Ymir and Marcel.
Right. And so my running theory is that Erwin's dad stole it. That's why he was on the run. And this is the power that the
Aaron's
king...
dad stole it, and that's why I was on the run.
That's what I said?
Erwin.
Oh. Aaron's dad stole it, and that's why he was on the run. And it was the power that the king was using all this time to have those memories be altered.
So, question. If you have the power to alter one's memories, you'd presume that you'd have the power of, like, full control. He did this so they'd be easier to rule. Why wouldn't one just continue to have control over them and rule them? What if whatever this power is takes a toll on you? Like, what if, like, he had to lock, like, the person who did this couldn't continue to have this power for all of their lives. They had to, like, take it out of them and then kept it somewhere, where Aaron's dad stole it. You know? Like, because it's hard to believe that Aaron's dad was able to just take it from somewhere.
Right. I feel like a possible guess could be it would be hard to convince the people that a human could live past the lifetime that they're used to. And so they would have to have the kings decide to relinquish this power upon their old age and actually die to pass it on, or there would be suspicion of why is this guy living too long.
You thought that potentially one of the old kings was, like, turned into a Titan and is going to be, and that's what they're going to try to use it for?
Yeah.
We did have the weird line of from Ymir in 2X10 about immortality, right? So does that bleed over immortality being a Titan, or, like, immortality being, like, a human too? Like,
I don't know.
Because Reiner and Berthold obviously aged, so, like, I don't know.
They aged when they were out of their Titan form.
Yeah.
And Ymir started aging as soon as she got out of it too. But I think it would be pretty cool if the original king that altered the memories was locked away somewhere in Titan form, and that Aaron's dad took this power purely from DNA and just, like, put the syringe into that Titan, took it out, and then injected Aaron with that same kind of Titan DNA that was within the king.
I wonder what his motive would be at that point.
I don't know. He obviously had a lot of faith that Aaron could fix the ways of this world.
Yeah, but I don't know. How deep did Aaron's dad, like, infiltrate? Obviously, like, he was very important with, like, the epidemic and everything, but, like, he must have had a massive amount of information to make the decisions and choices that he did make.
Were they using Aaron's dad to, like, continuously keep memories altered?
I don't know.
Aaron's dad was a doctor for so many people. He would be injecting so many people with different things.
It could be like they caused the epidemic just to give a doctor an excuse to go to every person and, like...
Oh, like, what if every certain amount of years there's an epidemic or something?
What if, you remember the end... What was it? The mid-roll of season 1 about the story about, like, the person digging? What if it's like the memory wipe thing only lasts a certain amount of time? No, the generations have passed. But like I was thinking, like, what if it only lasts a certain amount of time, and like he was like starting to regain something, so like they had to go out and administer.
Well, it could be like
But it would be
once people start to get curious again and want to leave.
Yeah.
That's when you have to act. Well,
I don't know. All
I
right.
guess we'll find out.
All right, you ready?
Eventually, yes.
Sweet.
No frickin' way! It is them! Oh, I'm so glad.
Do you think
so
Niall
happy.
sent them then? Honestly, thank
He's the
you.
perfect person to meet up with them.
Jeez. Roommates.
How have they not connected it?
Armin. They did hear them coming. Weird sight.
I don't like it.
Their new ODM gear. The one that Kenny, right? Useless against Titans. How long have they had them ready?
He probably doesn't know who to trust.
Hanji! Thanks, Hanji. Oh,
That's a good line, even though it's sad.
yeah.
I like Connie's hat.
Me too. Marlowe. Annie. Are they gonna tell her? Marlowe. Ugh.
He's planning something.
He's not a good actor.
This is not Jean.
Trying to see if they'd still talk.
どっちが早いか。待て、俺は本当に味方だ。なんて信じられるわけねえだろ。どう考えたら劣勢の俺たちが今からそんな調査兵団なんかやってんだよ。俺は入る兵団を間違えたよ。命をかけて戦い続ける限り、俺はあんたを信じる。
He has what it takes. Oh!
彼は俺を試しただけだ。ナイフを振り下ろしてたらどうするつもりだったんだ。お前、俺の嫌いなやつと似てる。
That's what Annie said.
そのバカって兄が言ってたやつと同じ。お前の覚悟は証明できた。これならリヴァイ兵長も納得するはずだ。俺たちに力を貸してくれ。
Marlowe has the resolve and dedication of a horse. He is like the embodiment of Shallot, and I love him. Cool.
Hitch is still a gray area for me.
Their reintroduction to the show is amazing. I'm so happy about this. Did he just kill them all? Nothing looked too life-threatening.
None of them looked killed.
Yeah.
So what I've deduced is the interior police sucks more than the military police.
But it makes you wonder if they have a choice, like much of a choice, or they feel like they have to do what they're doing. Oh, it's an ambush for sure.
Yeah. Just tell him before you kill him. Hey, yeah.
奴は俺らを裏切って調査兵団のが俺たちとは別の隊だがな。にも教えてもらえなかったんだな。その依頼断っていたらある程度の情報を知っちまったし。
Jesus.
従業員やこの町に固執してなきゃな。知った風な口聞きやがって。親父は俺に教えてくれたよ。商人は嗅覚が大事だってな。親父たちの無念を晴らせる人たちを。最後は豚らしくピーピー泣けよ。上を見ろマヌケ。
Amazing. Oh!
あんたから見りゃそうだろう。悪いな。俺らはこうなっちまったところにもまだ住んでんだよ。
Hanji brought the people of the town.
That is so smart. Revolution.
安心してこの町はリーブス商会が守る。今日からフレーゲル・リーブス。俺が会長だ。お願いします。
The newspaper guys were there!
Did you see how concerned the older guy looked and how optimistic the younger guy did?
まだ右も左もわからん新兵だ。それは気の毒なことをしたな。あんたの口は気の毒でしょうがない。まだまともに喋れるうちにエレンとクリスタはどこだ。泥臭にまみれて逃げ回ることだけだ。お前らが嫉妬しなければ。
Look at his eyes.
最初は調査兵団最高責任者であるエルヴィン・スミスからだ。うるせえよ。さっきの質問に答えなかった。それを承知のバカどもの集まりが俺らだ。本当に教えられてないんだ。ケニー・アッカーマンはとても用心深い。
Ackerman.
それがケニー、奴のせいか。そうだが。
What is happening?
I'm so confused.
Mikasa heard it.
Mikasa's father wasn't Asian, right?
まともじゃない。町から誰か来ます。何もかもだ。調査兵団はこの間俺に偉そうに説教を垂れといて王への謁見が決まったぞ。 そこで調査兵団の解体と運が下される流れだ。
Wow.
ナイルか。お前の家はどこだ？ストフェスクだったか。お前の家族は元気に暮らしているのか。子供たちもマリーも帰れていないが、場所はウォールローゼ東区だ。何なんだこの質問は。その時俺はただ見ている。そして彼らだ。ニックがウォール教の主催だった事実は知らなかった。本人の自己申告、その一点張りだ。
エルヴィン・スミスが到着しました。奴を死刑にしさえすれば全ては元通り、壁内の平和も守られる。永遠にな。エルヴィン、最後に言い残したいことはあるか？
If they kill Erwin.
Okay, that was Attack on Titan, Season 3, Episode 4.
Oh, is that what the show's called? I thought it was Attack on Scouts.
Yeah. You know, if man, it's so interesting. If last season was if the first season was like, okay, we're introduction inside and outside the walls. Season 2 is primarily outside the walls against the Titans. Season 3 so far is most definitely showing us what the inside is like, you know?
It's like, let me show you some people fighting against what they have been told is the real issue, and now let me show you what the real issue actually is.
Yeah, it's so difficult to call someone a bad guy in the show right now for me, because, like, Niall, for example. I first met Niall and hated his guts. I met Niall in episode 14 of season 1. I was like, you piece of shit.
We did not like him.
He has a family and a wife, and he is doing what he thinks is right and best to...
And what he's being ordered to do. He's doing his job.
Yeah, and to provide and keep, and do what he thinks he needs to do to keep his family and his life safe. You can't expect everyone to do what is considered the one right thing when you have so many so much personal interest in your life and who you care about.
Right. Like, you might know that something is maybe the morally right thing to do, but to you, you also have to consider your family. Your wife and your kids, and will following what you know is probably truly the most righteous path, will that put your family in danger?
Like,
maybe.
In reality, it's not like one or the other. It's like one or the other when doing what could potentially be and lead to a morally right outcome is probably less than 1% of a success rate, when shutting up and making sure you can spend the most time with your immediate family and give your immediate family the best life has like a 90% success rate. So it's like, I don't blame I don't blame anybody in that, right?
This reminds me of the speech that Pixies gave on top of the wall, where as people were walking away because they were like, this fight isn't worth my life kind of thing. He brought them back by bringing up the reason that they were fighting to begin with, and or that they joined the military, and that was to create a better world for their families and their children.
Yeah.
And that got a lot of them to turn around and come back and fight, even though most of them died. And that's just kind of how this show goes, is all of these people decide to dedicate themselves to the military and to the scouts and garrison. And eventually, you know, they might have to die in order to keep with this goal of creating a better future for their families.
In my emotions right now, I am very like, fuck King Fritz. Fuck his inner circle.
5 dudes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Fritz.
Fuck
5
them all,
dudes.
they suck.
They suck.
And I hate them. But if I'm trying to be like, what has this show taught me so far? It's like, let me wait to say that I fucking hate them and hate their guts and despise them until I know why they're doing what they're doing.
Right, okay, because we didn't really even know that Niall had that backstory with Erwin.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know that... I mean, it's obvious that Niall wasn't super happy about Erwin being taken into custody by the fact that he showed up to talk to Erwin.
Yeah.
He obviously heard that Erwin was being taken in and wasn't ecstatic about that.
Mm-hmm. Like, my assumption is very easily, okay, the king and the inner circle have known the past of what Erwin's dad suggested it to be.
Mm-hmm.
They know how life got to be how it is and want to do everything they can to keep it how it is so that they can maintain their lavish lifestyle. That is what I am assuming to be the case, and because of that, I hate them. That being said, what is, like, they've said that they want to keep the walls the way that it is and the peace within the walls. What is the alternative if they are the ones who I presume are the ones 100 years ago, the people to make the Titans in the first place?
The wrench in all of that you literally just brought up, that they obviously want to keep all of this stuff secret. They just admitted that Erwin didn't learn anything from Historia.
Yeah, I know.
But they're still gonna kill him.
To be safe.
Well, I mean, they're probably gonna kill him because they're like, shit, we already tortured and interrogated him, so we need to make an example out of him and say that he tried to learn things or kill him for whatever reasons they're gonna come up with.
So yes, at the moment, fuck these guys. I hate them. They're the bad guys. I am still very curious to know specifically why they believe what they're doing is right. If it is not just, I like being rich and having my shit.
Well, one of them literally called everyone a bird in a cage and was really happy about it. So I'm like,
you're right.
They're already admitting that they like and are aware of the situation that they've placed all of these common people in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely leaning towards they have intentions on protecting their own wealth and the life that they want, and everyone else can go suck it.
That's very true.
So maybe we'll find out more from them of why they're doing what they're doing, and it might be slightly not redeemable necessarily, but might make sense.
I don't think it would be
degree.
redeemed, but I think it would be like, oh, I can kind of see it, or that just reaffirms why you're an asshole, you know?
Yeah.
You know, one thing I think this show does amazingly well is showing and making the audience feel the scale of this world that they've built. Like, the showing the people, the citizens around Hanji when Boss was, like, being confronted. Great. And then showing the journalists. Like, showing that, like, really makes me as a viewer feel like the world that we're living in and how it's, like, living and breathing, you know?
The journalists were a great example, both in the first instance we saw them in the episode and later. Like you said during the episode, the old man's face looked a little more worried, while the young man looked so excited at this story and this revelation and more hopeful even. But it's like, it makes you think, how many other things did that old man know or learn over the years that he never could share? Because he seemed to know, don't worry, we're not going to write any stories about the Interior Police. What other things did he know the Interior Police did?
I'm sure he has known a lot. I'm wondering if, like, he was like this one kid once, you know? Like, and
maybe
was
he
like,
got threatened.
Yeah, and, like, saw the dangers of it firsthand. I mean, like, we know, like, one of the really good examples here that we're going to get to in a second was when the Interior Police guy, fell to his knees being like, I thought they were going to kill my family kind of shit type beat. Like, like they don't have a choice in their own right. It doesn't absolve what they're doing by any means, but it makes sense. That's what I love about the show. People aren't just doing, it's totally okay if people just do shit and we can assume their motive. We don't have to assume here. They are doing and having these actions, and then we can completely see why they're doing what they're doing.
And make sense doesn't necessarily mean we would agree with what they chose. It just means that we could understand how a person separate from us or even ourselves could make a decision like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be super surprised if that was someone's motive for doing what they did. I might not choose to go through things the same way they did, or maybe I would. I don't know. I've never been in a circumstance like that.
So, just awesome job, right?
Yeah.
Marlo and Hitch? Marlo and Hitch sounds like a...
Oh, they sound like they're both gonna be like not like a buddy cop.
It does sound like a buddy something.
Bonnie and Clyde, or something.
Endgame. and Hitch.
They're endgame. They're gonna get married.
I was just about to say that. I want them together. Yeah.
We've only had one couple in this show, and they didn't work out. I
am with you that I'm a little worried about Hitch still. I hope that doesn't pay off. Like that worry. I hope that she stays true. That being said, what great additions that they are back. A little bit convenient that they're the ones here, but I'm fine with it because of the reveal of Annie being the Titan.
To me, it kind of makes sense that they would force all of the new recruits that didn't really know anything to be the ones searching the woods.
Well, I agree with you there. Yeah.
So it is just... It doesn't seem like it's purposeful in any other way than to bring characters back into the story. Like, I don't think it's like, oh, these ones were planted here by people in the universe purposefully.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like the author bringing back two characters that especially because they're the two that had a connection and dialogue with Annie.
I like their characters a lot. I liked them a lot when we were first introduced to them and wanted more, so I'm glad that we get more now.
Agreed.
I said that Marlo was like a horse, and I don't take it back. He is a good boy, and I like him. I loved Jean's, act here. I love that Marlo
could tell it was an act.
Right?
And Hitch was like, I'm gonna whack you in the head.
With a perfectly cut stick. But I love it. Marlo and Hitch.
Why do we never talk about concussions in this show?
Yeah.
Without a doubt, some of these characters have probably gotten 10 concussions, and we've never once seen them be like, ooh, I lost all my memories from yesterday. What happened? Oh, you fell off your horse or were thrown by a Titan.
I thought I was screwed for a minute there. I thought they'd kill me, not his family, I guess.
Oh, we're looking at Flagel, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Flagel, right?
Mm-hmm. F-L-E-G-E-L?
Yeah.
Wow, I can
F-L-E-G-E-L, yeah, correct. But the interior police for a minute there, I thought they'd kill me. Still, they definitely have something over their heads so that, oh yeah, we were tracking them down and they got away. That's easy enough to be killed for.
Yeah. But it's this character in his display of fear and sad, oh my god, I thought they would kill me, is so weird in its juxtaposition with how he then immediately stops crying and lifts up his gun towards Flagel. I'm like, if you thought they were gonna kill you, and so you're facing the reality of what death means, wouldn't that make it somewhat an emotional experience to kill someone else? If you're in that moment also thinking about what death means?
Maybe.
I guess if you were a good person, maybe.
Or
yeah, maybe. Empathy. If you were just in that position yourself of staring down the barrel of a gun and you're like, sorry, dude, it's my family or your life, but there's going to be some emotional there, right?
No.
Obviously not.
If the interior... He would not be in the interior police if he had that type of personality.
Is this guy in the interior police, or is he just given the orders by the military police?
Oh, good question. Could be.
I feel like these guys were just lackeys. But I don't know for sure.
He did say the interior police and their schemes, everyone here is a witness. But that was the other
But
guy.
I think the guy was when he asked what the deal was. Oh, well,
I thought he said, so you're saying it was the interior police, and then he said it wasn't our squad. right?
Yeah.
So that would infer that they're interior police.
It
right?
could, but the interior police is a part of
the military police.
But it probably does say that these are interior police.
I would think so, but it definitely could be wrong. The most what the fuck moment of the episode
is the guy that looks like a pirate, who's an interior policeman.
Kenny Ackerman.
Is a
fuck, bro.
Do you get what I'm saying when I said that Mikasa's father wasn't Asian? And
no, I thought Mikasa's father was Asian.
No,
and
it was
his mom
the mom.
I don't think so.
Go back and look at Mikasa's parents. Her dad was like a blonde dude.
How would she have the name Ackerman then?
Because that's Kenny, brother of her father's. That's their name. You get the dad's name.
Okay, yeah. But I don't know. Really?
I'm pretty sure they were trying to kidnap the mom also.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Because they were like, the mom, they didn't want to kill the mom.
Mm-hmm. How much do you want to bet that Kenny sold out the information that his brother married an Asian woman or something?
That could totally be it, because it's kind of like, oh, he's living this better life.
Does he look like Kenny? The dad?
I don't think so.
They just have, dirty blonde hair. They both look like grown men. Grown anime men.
Ask your dad. Hey, Dad. I don't know.
I mean, maybe that's why they live in a humble cabin in the woods, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
She's
Asian. Well, that doesn't mean the Mikasa's family, or the Ackerman family's Asian.
No, I did say the Ackerman family was Asian.
Okay.
You get your dad's last name.
Yes, okay. Sorry, I'm having a lot of trouble.
Is it too hot in here?
It's pretty hot. But, it does... So, but Levi seemed a little shook here, no?
Maybe he didn't realize that his last name came from Kenny?
How young was Levi when he met Kenny, or is Kenny... Okay, stop beating around the bush. Is Kenny his dad? No shot, right? Maybe adopted, but I don't know.
Didn't he say that he took in a lot of kids? Didn't Levi say that?
I know Kenny. Is that his last name?
Well, as a kid, are you going to ask an adult what their last name is?
No, but why would Levi have that last name as well?
Probably because Kenny gave it to him for some reason.
Or three family members. Maybe it's Kenny, Mikasa's dad, and then a third person who had Levi.
Because if Kenny was going to sell out his brother, Mikasa's father, what if he had another sibling who also married an Asian person?
True. I don't know. It's interesting, though. And Mikasa's just like, what?
This is the first time we're seeing Mikasa react to the name.
Yeah, but it's Kenny.
I know.
Having the name, not Levi. Which
I know, it's just the
so
name in
interesting.
General.
It's so weird. It's such a weird dynamic, dude. What is happening?
And when she looks back down after looking over, it's like she's deep in thought.
Does Levi...
she's trying to wonder if there's a connection there to her and Kenny.
Does Levi know his last name?
That's a good question. Is, Kenny just calling Levi Ackerman because he raised him?
Well, no.
Or does Levi think he has a last name? Has Levi ever said, this is my name? So
maybe Kenny knows the secret that Levi is an Ackerman, or that Levi has the last name Ackerman, but hasn't said anything until the few episodes ago. I don't know. Because he's not like Ackerman, that's my name too. It's he's never even heard the name.
It's almost. He could be reacting to it because it's Mikasa's last name.
Yeah.
They only show some slight facial reactions from him. I can't really get a gauge of like what he's thinking.
Which is smart because you wouldn't want to show a massive reaction to
a person that you're interrogating and torturing.
Question about this this interaction we're about to get with the king, right?
Okay.
Presumably,
when Erwin's placed in front of him.
I don't know how often it happens, but I would not be surprised if the king knew or was the one who sentenced Erwin's dad to death. Right?
I don't know. I feel like in a place this big with the 3 walls and so many people living within it, I feel like the king probably has other people recognizing who they need to kill and not being the one that interviews all of them. Because I feel like there's probably a lot of people that they've had to kill over the years.
Maybe, but like we got 3 examples like by image.
Yeah,
like,
and I think we were only given those examples because they're related to characters in the story.
I know, but I'm not saying that like he went to the king and then the king was like, kill him now. I'm just saying through the king's order and like information got back to the king of there's this teacher who was saying
just
this.
like something he has to sign, some paperwork,
Yeah, exactly.
and he's like, yes,
so
stamp,
like
kill him.
I more mean like he's gonna have knowledge that Erwin's dad died for thinking.
Which is more reason to execute Erwin here. Because you know that if he's allowed to rejoin the scouts and be commanding the scouts again, he is still going to be pushing to reveal the truth.
What this Wallace, who's in the inner circle, obviously does not give a shit about Historia, right? Like protecting the family.
That or this Wallace thinks that this protects the family for some reason. Because Pastor Nick seemed to go along quite well with... It seems... I mean, like, the Wallace were seeming like they were buddy-buddy with the interior, you know? And maybe that was purposeful in order to ensure the protection of the true royal line. Because if they probably don't want the world to know about the true royal line, because then what if King Fritz decides to kill Historia and her dad?
Sure. But like seemingly Pastor Nick was trying to like, in my interpretation, protect her and keep her protection. When do you feel like King Fritz and them are like, I feel like they don't want Historia around here, like in this like circle.
I don't know if it's that they don't want her around. I think it's that they want to be able to control her. Okay,
because they're saying that all of her claims, if she like says anything about her name, they'll amount to nothing.
Yeah.
So like I don't know.
Who said that? Who said all of her claims would amount to nothing? That guy?
Yeah.
What does the Wallace say?
How silly.
But then he kind of side-eyes the other guy as he's talking. I don't know. I'm
interested to see how this plays out.
I feel like there could be people involved in the Wallace that aren't good, or, well, none of them seem to be, like, amazing, but aren't on the side of protecting the Reese family.
Just like they always have, the Wall's secrets will stay safe.
I don't want them to stay safe. I want to know what they are.
It looks like these people have their own patch, like the people who are the king's men, you know?
Are these members of the interior? Or are these, like, the king's soldiers?
I wonder how you get to be that. Do you think it's like a lineage thing?
Could be lineage, or it could just be years of merit and service to the king.
Do you have any last words?
I couldn't help but try to think in my head what words Erwin would use here. Like, would he say something, like, spiteful? Would he say something that was kind of, like, nonchalant? Would he say something that was kind of like a giant F you? Would he say something like he didn't really care what was happening? Would he play it by trying to trigger them? I don't know.
I want to know more about the king because I feel like there's ample reason we have not gotten anything about him or from him. All the dialogue we've gotten is from the inner circle. What the fuck is the king thinking or up to? Is he just a puppet? Is he like thinking things differently than the dialogue we've gotten so far? In a typical story, when you have like an antagonist painted for you and there's a king in that same group, that would be the person who's mainly focused on, I feel like. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting to me that we haven't really gotten any dialogue from the king. Any meaningful dialogue. So I'm like, the fuck's your deal, dude? Like, why do you have so much power over everyone, you know?
I still want to know why he's king and not Historia's father. Like, how did that happen?
I would assume it's, his dad was the one who erased people's memory. It's 107 years ago, right? That could be probable. Or immortality, he was the one who did it.
Yeah, how long has he been king?
That being said, I think everybody in the whole fucking wall system would be suspicious if their king was 107 years, has been reigning for 107 years.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that it's his son, because he looks older. I think that could be early on in the show. Like, I always like made the mistake of assuming that this was like 700-800 years ago, that like the Titans happened and all this.
I think what makes it more intriguing is the fact that what can change and what can happen in this, actually, if you think about time, a short span of time.
Honestly, you're exactly right. It's
how quickly a kingdom can be built and minds altered, and now we get to where we are.
I know I'm probably going to get this wrong, but where are we? 853? Maybe? I think we're 850. No, 850. Sorry. 853 is the wrong one. 850. I think we're 850. And if we're 850, then 107 years ago, there's no significant 753. I don't know. I'm...
What?
It's hot.
So, Pixies has a mission to set into motion Erwin's plan, and Erwin has planted the seed to Niall, Niall is obviously here trying, I think he thinks and is hoping to get something from Erwin here, and not like in a malicious way. I think he's trying to get I think he knows the state and situation that Erwin's in. I think he has some doubts about the government. And I think by the sweat droplet on his face and how he looks back to see if the guard is listening or paying attention, he's trying to get something here. And I think he even says to him, why are you using this conversation to ask about my family, or something like that?
Yeah, I entrusted something to Commander if it exists. I wonder, I don't know. I have no reason to believe Niall's a bad guy. I think that he is, like what you were saying, like he's just like, this is all he's known, but he knows that Erwin's not a bad guy. He has a little bit of doubt in his mind. He wanted to be the person to like talk to Erwin right now, especially, even though he's like high up. I think
Erwin has a lot of trust for him, too.
I agree.
When it comes down to it. I think that he believes that when it comes down to an uprising and something actually giant happening, I think he has faith that Niall would choose to stand with him, even if he's no longer alive.
When it comes, I will only watch. It's up to you to decide. You and them. Is it a complete uprising within the military police or military police versus the
interior police?
Or no, sorry, the garrison versus the military police? Like the garrison's just gonna go all out and with Pixis, and it's gonna be like, it's up to you to decide, you and them. So that being Niall and the military police?
Maybe.
That could be kind of cool.
I just feel like by when he says, I will only watch, he'll be with the noose around his neck. And that'll be when it's all happening.
Oh.
Because they showed us a clip of him standing there.
Yeah.
About to be hung.
Yeah.
Hanged. Hung. I don't know.
Hanged.
Why do I not know which one it is?
I think it's hanged. I could
It
be
just
wrong.
sounds wrong.
I know. But I think that's why I know it's hanged.
It's probably
because
like
it
the
sounds
first
wrong.
time I've ever used that word is in the show.
But I don't know. I'm just ready. I'm ready to see what happens. I'm ready to see what is gonna come.
I'm ready-ish. No, maybe I'm not ready. I don't think I'm ready to see Erwin actually up there about to die.
Well, what we saw was like a thought of it, right?
Yeah, but I feel like it paints a picture of... I mean, and they're about to say that sentence him to death. They're probably going to definitely make a public display of him.
But look, from my experience in a lot of animes, if they show something, then it's probably not going to happen. That being said, every time I've thought that in this show, they fucked me over. Like Eren, like holding up the rock, like before it happened. Like, I was like, oh, now it's not going to happen. So now I'm like...
Oh, we really did think that he wasn't going to be able to plant the boulder in front of there, you know, once they showed that to us as a possibility.
But now I'm like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, fuck, you're right. Erwin probably is going to be on stand, ready to be hanged, and then we'll see what happens.
And that's when it's all gonna go down. No more fighting Titans. It's gonna be a gun battle.
The whole ODM gear, like, being made specifically for fighting scouts and being kept from the public is so fucked.
It's even kept from Nile.
Yep.
Until it was showcased in Chasing After the Scouts. I really don't want to see Erwin. Even if they don't actually kill him, which... What do you think? Okay, just answer this like one last question for me. For the plot, do you kill Erwin here or do you not?
That's a really hard question. Unless the public is given motive and reason to trust Erwin, then it wouldn't do anything. It would not progress the plot a crazy amount. If
they were just given reason to believe he didn't kill
if
Reeves.
Yes, and then saw them publicly execute him.
For this murder that he didn't do?
Correct. Or if Erwin, his mouth isn't gagged in this imagination of him being hanged, like if he had said something to the general public to make them wonder. Like, that's one thing. But, like, at the given moment... I would just be really sad, and that's it.
But does it do anything plot-wise? Does it create more momentum for people to uprise if he's actually killed? Or does him surviving this and being able to continuously be a leader do better for the plot?
Decent. No, I don't know, because he gave up his commanding position. So it's like, if he goes forward in the story, I feel like it needs to be in a different way that he hasn't been yet.
I think it would be, if I were to keep him alive as a writer, plot person, if that was my choice and I was like, I want him to live, then I would probably say he wouldn't return as commander of the Scouts. I would probably say he would be someone who sits on a panel with the new future king or queen.
Agreed. Maybe
as like an advisor?
Like in the new inner circle kind of thing? I could see that. Okay, you good?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.